The executive pastor of Thomas Road, Jason Schonfelder.
Wonderful to be here.
And the senior life pastor, Kent Wise.
Thank you for having me.
They are hosting and putting on an event called the Dementia Hope Conference.
So many of our caregivers are sitting at home and they are feeling left out, like everybody's forgotten them. Maybe even their church has forgotten them.
You don't need to have a family member that's currently dealing with this situation.
And I think at that age, one of the biggest things that they need to know is that God loves them. And I have a burden for that population.
One of the first places that a senior goes is their local church to search for answers.
I've watched Thomas Road send that message, Jason, for so many years now. But there are so many local churches that do the exact same thing. I've got a big passion to make sure that the pastors in the churches are equipped with proper information to be able to help.
And a lot of those churches maybe don't know the answers to a lot of these questions for the seniors.
So maybe some of the local churches need to send some folks over to the seminar as well.
Around the Table with Vickie. Just like gathering around the dinner table with loved ones and friends, we're here to share stories, insight, and inspiration.
Well, welcome everyone. We hope you're having a wonderful day. And no matter if you're tuning in on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or listening in the radio, we welcome you and thank you for joining us here around the table with Vickie. I'm your co-host, Chris Runk, and to my right, as always, is your host, Vickie Runk.
Happy Tuesday. We're filming today.
That's
it's
right.
Tuesday. It's beautiful here in Lynchburg, Virginia, and we've got a lot of exciting things to talk about today.
Right off the get-go, if you are tuning in on YouTube or Spotify, you're going to notice that the set looks just a little bit different
Just
today.
a little.
And we're here filming in the gorgeous West Manor Estate. And we're excited because we're having some growth.
Mm-hmm.
Around the Table with Vickie is growing. We're in the process of redoing the studio. So we're making Studio 2.0 right now as we talk. So that's the reason we had to come to a different site today. And so we're excited for it. We're excited to bring more speakers, better sound, all the things that go into the show, which we are learning. We did not know that a year ago,
Right.
when we made the studio. So we're excited
And
to
here
see
we go. That's
what
right.
we get into.
That's
but
right.
without further ado, today we are joined by the executive pastor of Thomas Road, Jason Schonfelder. Welcome to the show.
Welcome.
Wonderful to be here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And the senior life pastor at Thomas Road, Kent Wise. Welcome, Kent.
Thank you for having me.
All checked in here. That's
And
right.
we are excited because they are hosting and putting on an event called the Dementia Hope Conference. So let's dive into it and let the listeners know what they can expect.
Yeah. And so, yes, welcome, guys. Jason's a great friend, has been for years. And Kent, I have been following senior life at Thomas Road ever since I was 6 years old. Now, I'm having a birthday this year. It's not the big birthday, but I am getting ready to turn 59. So I've been at Thomas Road following the senior life, what we used to refer to as senior saints, for a long, long time. And I actually think that there was a period of time that, when God was like molding my motivation for what I do today, that I was very sensitive to that group of people. I still am, but it was when I was little. I remember there's a deacon, and Jason, you may know his name. He still hands out Tootsie Rolls, and he was always so near and dear to us. And then my children was born, and then as they were able to have the Tootsie Rolls, he gave those too. And now he's a part of senior life, and in the latter part of those years, and it's just exciting to have been at the church all these years and watched all the growth. And so senior life is an important part of what you do. Is that right, Kent?
Yes, we have a great time every Thursday. We meet, and it's just a time of fellowship, a time of fun, a time of teaching, and also just a time of letting people get to know one another. And
I think at that age, one of the biggest things that they need to know is that God loves them.
amen.
That no
Yes.
matter what challenge or what kind of health disparity they're going through or changing in their family dynamics, that God simply loves them and that he's going to be there with them through all of life's changes. And I've watched Thomas Road send that message, Jason, for so many years now. And so to say that there's a special spot in my heart for Thomas Road is something I'm saying here on the show today. But there are so many local churches that do the exact same thing, that really minister to the widows in their churches, those that are bedbound, those that are homebound, and there's so many in our community. And I have a burden for that population. And so, Kent, when you reached out and told me you wanted to do this conference, we were on board. We said, let us be the main sponsor. Let us help you with everything you need. And we are honored to be one of the sponsors for the Dementia Hope Conference. Tell our listeners a little bit what they will be getting next Saturday, March the 15th. It starts at 8:30 a.m.
We start at 8:30 a.m., 8 o'clock for registration. Come in, and we're basically going to have a great time of learning, I guess is the best way to put it, and letting folks know that there is hope, even in the midst of something like dementia, Alzheimer's. We have Dr. Peter Betts, who's going to be the guest or one of our keynote speakers, of course. You're going to be one of our keynote speakers, and Dr. John Thomas is going to be another speaker. And then we have breakout sessions that cover everything from the legal issues that surround
important too. Important.
Taking care of folks to how do you care for yourself as a caregiver? One of the things that a lot of folks don't understand is being a caregiver is really hard. And you have to be willing to take care of yourself and know how to take care of yourself so that you can do the things that are necessary for the loved one that you're caring for. We're going to have how to make your home safe for those who have dementia. We're going to have someone talking about nutrition, how nutrition plays an important part in how we not only care for ourselves, but also care for the caregiver. And then we have AARP, who's going to be coming in to talk about their resources. Brooke Gill from the Alzheimer's Association, she's going to be there talking about the latest research on Alzheimer's and dementia. So it's going to be a great informative day for folks. And really, if the goal when this started was really to give people the opportunity to get the information that they desperately need.
And what a better place to do it than in a church setting to where we're all coming together. I talk about on this show so many times about the need at this age, a senior's life, to connect. There's a tremendous need to connect and not to feel left out. And so many of our caregivers are sitting at home and they are feeling left out, like everybody's forgotten them. Maybe even their church has forgotten them, but we want to let them know this coming Saturday, March the 15th, that we're going to be talking all about those issues. And I think it is just imperative to talk a little bit about Dr. Peter Betts. He's a great geriatric psychiatrist. And I know that there's other speakers too, but I'm going to pull up my phone here and do some cheating. He came to Lynchburg in 2001 and he joined Lynchburg General in practicing there. And he's recently been named the Executive Medical Director for the Psychiatric and Behavioral Health Sciences program at Virginia Baptist. He treats neurodegenerative disorders, mood disorders, and other psychiatric illnesses. He has been, Christopher, one of our greatest just advocates for Alzheimer's and dementia right here in this area. I would say that he's been seeing the Runkin Pratt residents for over 20 years. Truly knows what he's doing, and he's going to bring a message, Kent, directly to the caregivers. And he's going to talk about how we do need to take care of ourselves as caregivers so that we can have the energy, the stamina, and the emotional part of this to be able to care for them. And then there's going to be times that staying at home is not an option. So I'm going to talk about how to find that perfect home, that perfect community to fit in, whether it's a Runkin Pratt facility or maybe another one. We all kind of do the same things. And what sort of things should you be looking for? What questions you should ask? And how you can be a better caregiver sometimes when someone else is helping take care of that resident. So you can have more quantity of time is kind of left alone, but the quality of time is so important. And so I'm excited to be with you guys. And you're right, Brooke with the Alzheimer's Association, she has got some great things to share that I'm excited for our listeners to hear. I actually know a lot of the new advances that's coming into the field, and it is an exciting time. There's finally hope on the horizon. I know we've been saying that For years, I have actively been raising money for the Alzheimer's Association for over 38 years. And we just keep saying, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. But when you hear about the new medications and the new testing that's being done, it really is an exciting time in this field.
Yeah, we're very excited that Brooke and her group, Lindsay Parnell, they joined with us. And it's just been a great opportunity for me to learn from them, because I have to tell you, when this came up, it came up at a conference in Texas. Prestonwood Baptist Church there would put on a caregivers conference, and I had never thought about it. And so this was 3 years in the making, from the time the idea was birthed to the time.
Well, I'm glad the Lord laid it on your heart, because I think it's been needed for a long, long time. And I'm proud to say that Thomas Road is leading the way on that. Jason, in that regard, tell us a little bit about how important senior life is to Thomas Road Baptist Church.
I was just thinking my two favorite things that we do at Thomas Road are the senior life ministry and the widow ministry. My mom is a recent widow, as you know, and so every time I visit those groups, they happen on Thursdays, like you said, and they're the most vibrant group in the church.
They are.
Always seem to be the most exciting. And I love to spend time with them. If there's anybody out there that wants to come over and see, and maybe you're not the senior, but maybe you're considering, and you know that your loved one definitely needs to get involved, get plugged in somewhere, to come over on a Thursday morning around 10 o'clock in our Bruner Hall and experience what it's like. These people are wonderful. They have an awful lot of wisdom to give, an awful lot of life to talk about and to share with other people. And I think it's an incredible ministry and an incredible opportunity, not just for them to get together and have fun together, but also to find ways, to find platforms, to find ways to get involved in sharing with other people.
Absolutely. And I've had the opportunity of sitting with several of the groups several times, and our Runkin Pratt residents, Christopher, will board a bus at each of the communities and come over, and they have their own table, Kent. I dare say you probably better not put anybody else at their table.
No.
That's their table. And
That's
and I
exactly
love to see Julie Wilson, who's our independent living director, post all of her posts on social media about what all they've done, how much help they've received just from going and listening to the music, or to different speakers that you all bring in. You all bring in some really good music.
Yes.
Yeah. And Southern gospel groups, which I know that age group really loves. And you're really careful about knowing what they need and when they need it. And I think that's fabulous. But Christopher, there's no better joy than for us to even drive by our church and see our buses pulled up there, and know that you guys, Jason, are, ministering to our folks, which is what it's all about. And you're right, just to have a place to connect. I had the opportunity of speaking to the widows group probably 3 or 4 years ago. And one of the things that I told them was that God didn't call them home. He called their husbands home, but they're still here to serve.
Right.
And I got so many emails and Facebook messages saying, thank you so much for reminding me that God's still got a purpose for me, that he's not finished with me. And it just did my heart so much good to know that, number one, I was able to bring that to life for them. But number two, they're going to get up out of their seats and do something about it. And I think when we can create purpose in that age group, when we can give them a purpose, we give them a longer life. I really do believe that.
I've talked to so many of those widows who have told me, I more than a handful, Kent, over the past year, that have told me, I was sitting at home, I was lonely, I was missing my husband, I had no idea what God had in store for me, and I'm so thankful. Usually one of those widows in the room has reached out and has found out that way, and that's just a great way to get the word out,
Yeah, because they know firsthand what the grief is like, and they can recognize it on another woman's face, and then to bring them into the fold of ministry and really, just rejuvenate their spirit and their soul and their mind and give them something to look forward to. I think it's just been phenomenal. And Jason and Kent, I've watched that widows group grow from a tiny group of 20, 25 people. Now they almost outweigh you, Kent, in you guys' ministry. They're barking. They're right at your back door there for numbers. And I just say, go ladies, go. And I love to see them out in the community. I know they come to Liberty Ridge and they use our movie theater and they watch movies up there, and we try to incorporate them into a lot of what we do. And they are a help to other women. And I think that's a great point to bring up. But in the conference, what we also want you to do is write down your questions. Bring them with you. Make sure that when you leave that day, that you don't leave any stone unturned, that you've got your questions answered. And maybe at the end of the day, you will just realize you're not the only one in this fight. You know, Alzheimer's and dementia is a terrible, terrible disease because it's wiping away one of the most precious things that we hold in our mind, which is our memories. And I've watched families struggle. I've watched residents, be demoralized, and we've almost got a stigma around it that we need to break. And so I'm hopeful that with all your special speakers that you're calling in and just the chance to all come together, that we will be a light and we will give some information to some folks that will make a difference. What are some of your other goals for that day, Kent?
One of the things that we hope to do is to actually start some care support groups, and not only at Thomas Road, but even inside other churches in the community, giving folks an opportunity to have a place to go, to look for folks who need the same
like mind, like spirit, and then to be able to share stories. And Christopher and I, with what we do with senior living, we talk about the fact that everybody has their own story, and man, are they interesting. You know, whenever you go in our care communities and you listen to this one's from this country and this one did, Christopher, one of your favorite memories was a lady that was a National Geographic photographer, underwater
photographer. Wow. And that was, I love it with the saltwater fish tank, and to sit down and have stories. I would go at least once a week for a very long time, sit down and go through her albums, and she would show me the images. And what was so incredible was she knew the exact moment. She knew all the details. She knew what other fish were around. She recalled all those specifics behind every image.
But she may not know that there's a lunchtime and a dinner time that day, but she's stuck with those memories that were 40, 50 years ago. And that's what's so interesting about this disease. You know, they'll keep you way back there, but living in the present is sometimes difficult. And I think the approach that you have to this conference to really ministering to those caregivers, and there'll be caregivers that are listening to my voice right now that'll think, well, you don't understand because my husband's so different. But when you get to that conference on Saturday, you're going to realize he's really not. There's a room full of people that can feel what you feel, that can see what you see. And I hope that by the end of that day that we've given them some hope to know that they're not alone, which is what really this is about.
That's right. Community is so important and helping people to cope. We know that obviously in church, and it changes your life. Life in community is meaningful. Yeah.
And there could be some people listening to my voice right now, guys, that think, wow, that sounds really cool. I think I'd want to come and volunteer as Senior Saints. I think I'll come every Thursday and sit with the widows at a table. Or, you know, I'll be with Kent and maybe go minister in the hospitals and pray with those that are needy in that way. What do you say to folks right now in this moment, the Lord's speaking to them saying, you know what, I've got some time. Let me see what I can do.
We need you. One of the things that we can use is folks who want to connect with those who are sick, those who are homebound, those who are in nursing homes, those who just don't have someone else to talk to. One of the things that really gets me is the number of our elderly folks who don't have someone to come see them. Yeah. I mean, their family's gone or their family's away. And there's a lot of loneliness in that isolation and just visiting, just sending a card, just making a phone call, that can help a lot.
Right. And there's a website, Jason, that they can go to find out more about all of this.
That's right. It's trbc.org/DHC. Is that right, Kent?
That's correct.
That's right. You can find out all information on the speakers, accommodations if you need them, how to register, of course. We'd love for people to register ahead of time. We know that they won't all register ahead of time, but we would like for that to happen.
Right.
So we can get a better idea of the things like food, which, by the way, thank you very much.
Yes.
Runke & Pratt companies have supplied the food for the day as well.
We can have a nice box lunch. We'd love to see you there. The other thing that I think is very compelling, and I heard from a lady in the community about this, I told you last week, is that we're going to have hearing aid companies there. We're going to
Yes.
have home health companies there to see which path is best for you as a caregiver. Because ultimately, you may be trying to do it alone right now, but can't you and I know that that's not going to be possible or be able to be sustained for any length of time. So let's equip our people that are coming to the conference with knowledge and power to make informed, proper decisions about their path forward.
Yes.
And then we want our listeners and viewers to know that along the path, even if you don't get to come to this conference, Kent Wise is always available at Thomas Road Baptist Church. Jason Schonfelder is always available at Thomas Road Baptist Church. Just reach out if you need help. Don't let things get so far gone for you emotionally or mentally that you have some sort of a breakdown. Jason, there's people at the church for that. Am I right?
Absolutely right. 24/7. There's always something we call a pastor on call. Somebody will always be at the other end of that line. And it's 434-239-9281. By the way, you can call there and select pastor on call. Somebody is always available to help in any situation, whether it might be benevolence or it might be that there's a need. Somebody's in the hospital, they need prayer. They have questions or they're wondering about life's issues. Absolutely. We're always there for them.
Right. I know that, Jason, our age group, doing the sandwich kind of thing to where we still have kids. Some of us have grandkids, and then we have our parents that we're taking care of. Yeah, I call that the sandwich generation
Right.
that we're
That's
in.
right.
And sometimes it just gets to be overwhelming. And you can call the church anytime and be put on the prayer list. And the pastors at Thomas Rowe will pray over you. It doesn't have to be specific. You don't have to give a lot of information. But if you're hurting and you need prayer and you need someone to turn to, just like you said, Kent, there are seniors in the community that have no one to turn to.
Exactly.
So we want you to know on this show today, Thomas Rowe Baptist Church is your source of strength in the time of need. And we want to make that very clear that no one has to do life alone. Is that right, Jason?
That's right. That's exactly right. And that's why we're here.
Yes.
And one of the things that we are doing is we are providing a card for folks in the booklet. If you just want somebody to come and visit, a pastor to come visit, or a pastor to pray for you, it's a way for us to get to know who you are. And you don't have to call us if you maybe you just feel like letting us know there.
And a lot of the seniors in that age group, they're used to somebody knocking on their door, Jason. They're used to that pastor coming and knocking on the door. Now, our Gen Zs and, our kids will never know what that was like.
Different
right?
day and age for sure. Somebody knocked on my door and I ended up riding the bus to Sunday school for a number of years. And that's not likely scenario to occur.
Right. But this age, Kent, they're used to that pastor knocking on that door, walking to the door. What can we do for you? How can the church support you? How can we connect you with the right answers for what you're going through? And you'll provide that for them.
Yes.
If anybody knocks on my door, I'd probably call the police. Just throwing that out
Probably
there.
have. My grandmother has been dealing with dementia for close to a decade now, and she doesn't live around here, but I've seen in terms of her care, family's always there, but at some point you reach a point where you need a little something more.
Absolutely.
And I've seen the worst of that just in my own grandmother's life, and the best. And I think there are probably plenty of people who are about to go through this. They don't understand perhaps the mystery that surrounds this disease, what it means, or maybe they're looking down that road and wondering, is my parent, exhibiting signs of this possibility?
And we're going to lay all that out for them that day,
Yes.
Kent. There's not going to be anything left unturned that these folks will be able to come. And there's a live stream. Am I right about that, Kent?
It's not going to be a live stream. What we're going to do is we're going to actually film everything,
Okay.
and then it'll be part of the Thomas Road website.
Wonderful. So they can get to the website and
Yes.
see this. So if
right.
you're not able to get out and come join us in person, maybe you want to send somebody in your behalf. But if you can't do either, then you can go to the website in a few days or a week after or so and
right.
get that information. we want you to keep that and hold on to it. And it's a lot to absorb, so keep it to where you can always refer back.
And they don't need to have a family member that's currently dealing with this situation, but there are questions they need to be asking. Like I said, there's a wide range. You can make wrong choices, you can make right choices, and you need to be able to ask the right questions in terms of getting the best care for your loved one. And I think there are plenty of those folks in our community that would have something to learn from what we're going to do on March 15th.
Jason, I think you're 100% correct. Even though it may not affect you now, there's a very strong likelihood at some point down the road it will. And I know, Mom, that's been something that we've discussed many times, is in your feelings on one of the first places that a senior goes is their local church to search for answers.
Yes, I've got a big passion to make sure that the pastors in the churches are equipped with proper information to be able to help. Yes.
And a lot of those churches maybe don't know the answers to a lot of these questions for the seniors.
So
and
maybe some of the local churches need to send some folks over to the seminar as well, is what you're saying, and what I'm interjecting
and
here.
Those churches becoming resources. And I mean, what a great thing. I mean, thank you for Thomas Road, Runkin Pratt for sponsoring, putting on this conference to providing education to everybody here in the local Lynchburg community.
Yeah.
And I just want to say thank you. You mentioned about, Peter Betts. I've heard that name growing up for many years. He's kind of like a myth, an icon, a legend.
Yes.
So, him being there is a huge deal. Growing up, and also the relationship with Runkin Pratt and Thomas Road, it does my heart no better joy to, like Mom mentioned, having our seniors load them up on the bus, being able to bring them down to whatever Thomas Road may have. It's not even sometimes Senior Saints. You guys treat us so well with living Christmas tree tickets but it's all about engaging in that senior's life and providing value to them. Not only coming to Thomas Road, but Kent, talk a little bit about how you use specifically Liberty Ridge as a training ground for a lot of your pastors and worship, because that adds so much value, and our seniors up there look forward to it almost every Sunday and beyond.
Yes. One of the things that our Thomas Road Institute does is they provide the students, and you guys provide the opportunity at Liberty Ridge for them to go up and actually train. What better way to train a pastor than to have them go and actually do what they will be doing down the road? And it's a way for us also to be involved and get the generations connected. One of the goals that I've always had with Senior Life was to somehow get us connected to the younger generations. I remember a story when I first went into the ministry. A gentleman who I love dearly, he took me aside and he said, "What do you see in the church?" And I looked at him and I laughed. I said, "People." He says, No. He says, "What type of people do you see?" I said, "Well, there's gray hair, there's blue hair, there's all kinds of different color hair."
There's no hair.
There's no hair like me.
There's a lot of that,
I have to say.
And one of the things he looked at me and he said, "Those individuals in the seniors that are there, they're going to be your biggest supporters, and they're going to be the ones that help you throughout your ministry." And you know what? He was exactly right.
He was right. And I would be remiss if we don't say, Christopher, that the late Dr. Jerry Falwell, our pastor, a man that we loved and adored, started Thomas Road with this very mission in mind. And now his son, Jonathan, is carrying it on. And I get lots of conversations with Jonathan about his love and his desire to help the seniors in this community. So a shout out to him as well today.
Well, Kent, Jason, appreciate you guys being here. Go ahead and give listeners one more chance to find out more information about the Dementia Hope Conference. Tell them where they need to go, who they need to call, and hit them with that one more time.
Well, of course, you can go to trbc.org for just about any question you have regarding what's going on at Thomas Road throughout the week and throughout the year. Specifically, as it relates to this conference, trbc.org/DHC. That stands for Dementia Hope Conference, but it's /DHC. You can register. Please register. Please let us know you're coming. And we'll see you there.
Thank you both for joining us here around the table with Vickie. And Mom, as always, I'm going to kick it over to you. You like to end every show with a quote, so the floor is yours.
Okay, guys, thanks for being with us today, and thanks for listening on such an important topic. My poem comes today about Alzheimer's. Do not ask me to remember. Don't try to make me understand. Let me rest and know you're with me. Kiss my cheek and hold my hand. I'm confused beyond concept. I'm sad and sick and lost. All I know is that I need you to be with me at all cost. Do not lose your patience with me. Don't scold or cry. I can't help the way I'm acting. Can't be different if I try. Just remember that I need you. The best of me is gone. Please don't fail to stand beside me. Love me till I'm gone. And I know that's a hard poem to listen to, but guys, it's real. It's right here in front of us. It's in our community. Come let us help you on this journey. We want to be a part of this journey with you. Until next time, I'm Vickie, right here around the table.